Welcome to the Living Consciously TV show, coming to you live from Denver, Colorado. I'm your host and moderator, Coach Steve Toth, and our theme today is how to create new conscious conversation and way of being, a new way of being about ourselves. Let me introduce you to our guest cast as well as our entire Self-Evolution cast. Our guest cast today is Lynn Williams. She is a life coach, and she's joining us from Las Vegas. Welcome to the show, Lynn. Fantastic. And then also we have Ninon Diver de Rosa on Skype. She is also part of our Self-Evolution cast, and she's joining us from Las Vegas as well. What's going on in Vegas today?
Oh, it's all happening in Vegas with Lynn and I, so you're going to get a lot of exciting stuff going on, because that's what Vegas is like. There's always something happening here. In the meantime, it's getting very hot.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is a sign that consciousness is taking on in Las Vegas, which is probably one of the most unconscious places on the planet.
Well, yeah, no, not completely. They're very conscious and they pray a lot at the tables.
Okay, and we also have Linda Dyer. She is also part of our Self-Evolution cast, and she is joining us from Australia. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Linda, and last but not least, Jamie Lerner, who is joining us here in the studio, which is just totally lovely. Thank you.
It's a
Jamie.
pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Welcome for you to be here. All right, so the leading question goes out to Lynn, and that question is about what are the conversation and the ways of being that you are presently in?
That conversation is the one we have with ourselves, which for the most part, for most people, is pretty negative. For me, I've come to a place of understanding that being conscious of what I say, my conversation with me, is the most important thing there is.
Can you get more detailed, please?
Well, you know how it doesn't take much for us to go to the negative of I'm not good enough, or I'm not this, or I'm not lovable. I mean, I'm fat. Women, that's one of the worst ones we have. And quite frankly, that just puts us into this negative place consciously about who we are. We don't recognize and honor the spirit within, and therefore we don't benefit from that wonderful magnificence that we really are. But when you change that conversation and start to honor and recognizing it, everything around you just shifts wonderfully.
Okay, so then I'm going to ask you to walk the talk with us for a minute.
Okay.
And check in with yourself and see, today is a beautiful day, it's Saturday, and just give us a snapshot of what's the conversation that you've been in terms of in your head today, and in terms of the way that you're being.
Well,
before,
like you said,
before the show.
Before the show? Well, and I missed a couple of appointments this week, which is unusual for me. And so I had that conversation for a minute of what's going on. And then I realized I'm Scorpio. You know, we had the eclipse, we had the sun and Taurus, and all this stuff is going on. So it's not me, it's the celestial positioning. So I'm okay with that. I've been having some pretty miraculous things happening in my life, and also challenges just at the same time. But I'm learning and consciously blessing and appreciating those miraculous events, even more so than before, because I notice when I do that, they show up more often, and that's a wonderful thing.
Okay, so how do you catch yourself when you are having a challenge? Or when you're noticing that you're in a negative conversation? How do you catch yourself, and then how do you switch?
Well, you know, it takes practice. First of all, haven't been good at this all along. I mean, it's been a shift process that I went through to get myself to do this. But it's like anything else. You know, what you pay attention to, what you give your awareness to, is what you begin to notice most often. And so when I catch myself doing it, because I'm still human, I mean, I fall off the wagon like everybody does, but through practice and being aware of the languaging that I'm using, it becomes easier to stop myself when I do it.
Okay, great. Let's switch to your partner in Vegas there, because she's very good at this. Ninon is very good at having this positive attitude and positive conversation. How do you do it?
How I do it? Well, we all know that I take up in the thing in it's called jigsaw puzzle. As soon as I get myself to a place, I just say, how do
Okay, and, we're going to switch to Linda for a second. Okay, so Linda, same question to you. I experience you as well as a very positive person, and you very much into NLP. And so how do you switch the conversation in your mind to a positive mindset all day long?
Yeah, well, this week, Steve, it was a really good example of that, actually, because I'd just come back from Canada. I'd been working every day, coaching, training, speaking, and, I'm pumped, I'm on a high, and I hop in a plane 30 hours later and I come home, and then all of a sudden, things start to go the other way. I've got a training client that was wasting my time, actually, or I was allowing her to. I had a coaching client that decided they couldn't afford it for this week and they'll go. And I'm thinking, what's going on? And I could have got myself really down and thought, hang on a minute, everything I did last week is now null and void. But I turned around and I went, you know what? The universe is very clearly saying to me, calm down, you deserve this break. Yeah, you've actually earned this opportunity to have some time for you. And then I was so grateful I took it because, my publisher rang up and said, hey, I want that next chapter. And I went, perfect, I've got all the time in the sun to write it. So it was absolutely amazing. So my word for me is next. And then what is it that I need to learn from this and move on?
Okay, so our resident angel is next to me. She's the one with the angel dust. So how do you do it? How do you keep this up, like who you are being?
Well, my thoughts and my feelings are one. So when I am not feeling good, I know that my thoughts are somewhere other than where they could be. And I make the shift pretty quickly because I don't have a very good tolerance for not feeling good. I'm kind of a pleasure junkie.
And where do you feel that when you're not feeling good? Like where does it occur? Is it in your body somewhere, or is it in your mind?
It just crosses my mind that something's a little off.
Okay.
I've practiced myself into feeling good probably most of the time, 99% of the time. So I can make that shift really quickly. And I notice quickly it is the conversation, the internal conversation that I'm having with myself in that moment. And I can shift and feel good right away. But what I also know is that the conversations that we're having with ourselves are also very similar to the conversations that we're having with other people. Because I think the relationship that we have with ourselves is the relationship that we also are having with other people. So it becomes kind of important to
great. So that's a really good segue into my next curiosity, which is most of us here on the shore, I consider pretty awake and pretty conscious. But here's a challenge, and the challenge for me as well is there's a huge negative world out there, and I'm talking about television. I'm talking about when we go out to a grocery store. I'm talking about when we're interacting with other people. How do you maintain your way of being, like this angelic way of being, when you have to integrate it with the chaos out there?
Well, I think that you make a choice, that nothing is more important to you than how you feel. And once you've made that choice, it becomes a commitment. And once it becomes a commitment, you're really able to not allow yourself to be pulled into any of that negativity. As a matter of fact, you don't even notice it over time.
Wow.
So it's a process called selective sifting. And once we talk about tools, I can talk more about that. But
Okay,
it's
great.
possible.
Okay, great. Well, how about you, Lynn? How do you integrate your positive way of being and who you are being into the chaotic world? I still refer to it that way, which is, for me, it's it's a lot of control. It's a lot of fear that goes on out there. How do you integrate who you're being with all that negativity, and how do you protect it?
Well, it's kind of like she said, it's a matter of choosing. I spent a lot of time going through some very intense emotional stuff, put me in a really dark place with some serious depression. And once I started coming out of that, it was a conscious choice to say, I don't like the way that feels, but I like the way this feels. And so when I just spend a lot of time surrounding myself with light. I'm a strong believer in the pure light and the effectiveness of it. It's worked very well for me. I pray, I meditate, I work with the angels and the ascended guides. And by doing this, and when I find myself being affected by like the things that have happened recently, I listen, I let it go through me, but I don't let it become me. It doesn't anchor in my emotions. I pray for them, I bless them, I send light to the situation, and I let it go and start talking that positive stuff to me. And sometimes it's a matter of saying some affirmations, listening to a video, a meditation tape or something to clear that energy. It's constant clearing and cleansing.
So if I asked you, what is it that you want in your life right now that perhaps you feel that is missing, what would it be? What would be on the top of your list?
My perfect true love partner, like most people say. But I went through a bad breakup, and then my husband passed away in 2005, and I've been pretty much single since then by choice, because I decided if I allowed another partner in, it was going to be the one that I want, and other than that, I'd rather have my peace, my happiness, my centered joy, than to be dealing with the struggle of trying to make something work when it's not right. So I'm open to that now, whereas a little while ago I wasn't. It's feeling comfortable and safe in the world that's most important to me now.
Sounds great. What about you, Linda? Is there anything that's missing for you in your life right now that you would like to create based on who you are being?
Yeah, it's really an interesting question, because I have a really high value around family, and I have a 90-year-old father who's actually here in the lounge room with me today. And he just said before I came on this show, you know what, I don't want to go back to the retirement village. I really love it down here with you, and it just pulls at my heart. So there's a part of me that would love to just, put him in a Winnebago or whatever you call it, an RV vehicle, and travel, and that's what he wants to do. But you know what? I'm so passionate about what I do that I want to do both. I want him to have, the rest of his life and have it be happy, and I can't do that for him. He has to do that. And I want to be able to do what I do. So there is a tug of war going on with me, and I would like a bit more peace, I guess, around that, because he knows how to pull on my heartstrings to go, oh, you can stay one more night, and that means I don't get on with what I'm doing. So, yeah.
Okay, got it. What about you, Jamie?
What about me?
Is there anything that's missing in your life right now that you would like to create from this awesome way of being that you are?
No, I'm feeling really complete. I spend a lot of time in the moment, and so moment to moment, I think I can create whatever it is I'm wanting for myself. So, no, I'm good. I'm really, really good.
So would you say you would feel you feel fulfilled?
I feel really fulfilled, and if I died tomorrow, I would feel okay. Like I feel really complete in many ways.
Wow, fantastic!
Yeah,
I'm so lucky to know you and to be in the presence of that.
Thank you. I feel lucky to know you too.
Because I'm not there yet.
Well, I think that once we get super connected to ourselves and we become our own biggest commitment, then how we feel every moment is a choice, and then that's all that matters. I mean, it's just a moment-to-moment, beautiful, lovely life.
Wow, fantastic.
And I think what's interesting about that too, what Jamie was saying, and also Lynn, is that sometimes, like now, I'll go shopping and I'll hear conversations and I'll go, that's really quite interesting, and I'll giggle, because I think it's been such a long time since I've thought like that, to be that negative and I'll think all the energy people are putting into those negative conversations or negative emotions, because we've only got this much energy. And if we put it all towards what's negative in our life, there's nothing left for moving forward in a positive way.
But I don't think those people are aware that they're having a negative conversation. Like, to them, it's just a normal conversation. And I think that's where we have to be really careful that as we come into our consciousness, that we are respectful of allowing people to be where they are. And, there's so many wonderful choices out there for people to make. However, sometimes people are fine where they're at. And, our job is to be where we are and respect where others are. And that's very important to me. I never, am interested in calling anyone out and telling them that they could be somewhere else, because they are where they are in that moment. So,
I don't think some people even realize there is another place to be because so much of the world is in there with them, their family, their friends, what they see on TV. And so, I speak with a lot of people during the day because I'm also a psychic and tarot reader. So I go through quite a few clients in a given day, and some of them will come to me and say, how do I change my life? What do? I want it to be different. Others, I will make suggestions and they change the subject. They don't want to hear it. So I think it's very relative to those who are waking up versus those who are still asleep and maybe not even aware that there's another way to be.
All right, so I just wanted to also respond to my own question, which is, what's missing for me? And I used to probably respond with what Lynn said, which is I'm looking for my next partner, and that's not true. Because I'm not looking for that. What I'm really looking for is I'm looking for to feel 100% aligned and be comfortable with me, who I am. And I think as soon as I get there,
You will attract your partner.
the rest will just happen all by itself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing right now, for the first time in a long time, I'm getting ready to shape my body to be aligned with.
Shake, rattle, and roll, okay?
Yeah, to be aligned with who I am and what I represent, which is I represent being awake and being conscious, but I also recognized that I am not representing it 100% truthfully. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Well,
Because
honestly,
I am out of context. My body does not communicate the message that I really got this. Because if I really got this 100%, then I would feel 100% comfortable with myself, and I don't. Does that make sense?
It does make
How
sense.
much do you feel comfortable with yourself? What's the percentage that you feel right now with yourself? Because you've just gone through an awful lot of beautiful things, actually. But
Yeah, well, I just lost 8 pounds in 12 days. And I was showing this to Jamie, and I'm showing it on camera as well, I guess. Everything is loose on me now, and I'm not ready to go out and get a new wardrobe because there's 20 more pounds that's coming down. So, right now I'm probably at an 80-20. So there's still that 20% to go. When I can get naked, get in front of a mirror at home, and say, "Oh,
there I am.
Where have you been?
I've seen you in a long time.
Where have you been?" When I can say that, I'm ready.
But I think it's different for everybody. And, that's the other thing, too, to respect that, for someone else, it might be something having nothing to do with weight.
Oh, yeah, this is just true for me. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm not saying that
Yeah.
this is, this
Oh,
has
I
to
agree
be,
with that, Jamie,
this has to
100%.
be,
No.
everybody needs to be like this. No, it's just, this is what's up for me
At the moment. And
at
then
the
when
moment.
you've tackled that,
And then
you
as soon
can
as
go
I
on to
tackle that,
something
there'll be
else.
something else.
Yeah. We all have...
There was a social professor on the TV yesterday showing the research that he'd done around people's moods and happiness, and he said that some of the personal development industry needs to have a look at what they're doing, because he said we're so busy asking everyone to be happy and to come out and be wonderful and feel good, that he said people are not really used to practicing just being in their own emotions, just allowing themselves to have a sad moment, allowing themselves to have a time where they're not totally happy. And he's written a book about it, about feeling good.
About being human. About being human.
Yeah, yeah.
Human technology and brain and mind is not always happy and positive. I mean, I am known as being very positive. Believe me, I have my negative moments. I have my moments when I'm going through something, but, I was cut off before and I was being asked a question, and the question was, how do I get out of being in a negative place? I recognize being in that place, and I try to figure out how did I get there and what made it happen. And it may have been something somebody said, it may have been something I had done, it may have been something I hadn't finished and I'm mad at myself for not finishing it. So I immediately go into a place where, all right, let's just sit back and correct this and let's get an eye on it and let's start at the beginning, not fly into a middle or fly into an end, but ground yourself and start at the beginning and sort of, and don't keep knocking yourself, because it's not usually that bad anyway. But it's funny, we always knock ourselves on the bad things. We never congratulate ourselves on the good things. Funny.
Mm-hmm. It brings to mind one of my favorite Bible quotes, and that's the 23rd Psalm, the one where it says, "Yea, though I walk through the valley." Most people build a house and live there. So I think it's really reminding ourselves to walk through the experience, because we're going to have those. I was thinking about that today, too, because I saw something somebody said about being angry is part of being happy. It's a healthy emotion. And I thought about that for a minute. I said, Spirit gave us all these emotions for a reason. And yes, we should use them, but not dwell on the ones that take us out of our center and away from our good and our happiness. So I like that, walking through, keep on moving. It's the destination,
forward,
Yes, not the destination, it's the journey. So, keep on going.
Your journeys are going to be like mountains. You're going to go the ups and you're going to have the downs and the rivers.
Absolutely.
You're going to have, but really try to appreciate and understand them and really kind of like them. Say, well, I don't think I want to be in this one again, so let me go back to the other one. So without experiencing the problems, you can't actually experience the happy moments either, because then you won't be able to recognize them.
Yes, the contrast.
So here's something interesting I'm wondering about. So Nina, I know you for more than 2 years, and you actually never had a conversation with me where it was negative. So do you do that on purpose?
No, I don't. And I often sort of talk to myself about this, actually, because I seem to come out on I see things, I think, in a different way than most people. And I'm going to give a little small example. I had a stepdaughter who just started living with me. She was rubbing dry a glass, actually, and she dropped it. And she was so upset. And I looked at her and I said, well, don't be upset, don't be, hurt by this. And she said, well, don't tell Daddy. And then I saw fear in her, and I thought, well, why would I do that anyway? But also, I said to her, well, I didn't see you pick the glass up and drop it deliberately. I saw you, it slipped out of your hand. So I analyze something very, very fast, and I put it where it's supposed to be. And if you do that, you really don't put yourself into an angry place or a bad place. You put yourself in a place of understanding the situation. And I think when you understand the situation, it kind of clears it up, and there's more than one answer to a situation. There's a lot of people that will get angry. I got angry the other day. I got angry yesterday at 2 women because of what they did with a bill of mine. And then afterwards, I looked at both of them. I said, you know something? I said, I have to apologize to you. I said, because I'm really not angry at you. I'm angry at what happened behind the scenes that you didn't do. So I was able enough to look at them and smile at them and apologize. And to me, it was not belittling to me to apologize because I had been angry with them, but it was an understanding that I understood my own feelings, my own self, and I had actually created that. So now I created it, let's correct it and make them feel good, because it wasn't their fault.
It's never anyone else's fault. It's never about anyone but ourselves and our own
Correct.
relationship with ourselves. And I think that's just, if people got that in itself, and then to just have that relationship with yourself, even if it's a negative one, but knowing it's yours and you're responsible for it.
It was mine. It was mine. I was the one that said it. I was the one that caused it.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually coming into an era with myself where I'm beginning to appreciate you, Nina, more and more, because
I'm in trouble.
because now I understand
I'll
you.
take that on a positive.
No, because I now understand you more, and I used to be ticked off because the conversation I had in my head was, well, how come she doesn't recognize with me, when she has a bad day or where she has something negative going on, because she never talked to me about that stuff. You know what I mean? But now I have a more appreciation for that, because if you would have brought that into our conversation, it would have taken our energy and it would have taken our vibration way down. And you always keep it up, very positive. But I just didn't get that until just really recently. So there you have it.
Well, that's wonderful. That's nice to hear that, because sometimes when people see me chirping, I'm just a chirpy person. I was born that way. Apparently, I never cried, did all these crazy things when I was a little girl. So I don't know. I was there, but I wasn't coherent. But I've kind of been through this life I will actually understand a situation before I start judging it, and I'm putting it where it's supposed to be. And you know, when somebody does something, are they doing it deliberately, or are they just doing it because they're angry? Probably it's because, as Jamie said, because they're angry, not because I'm angry. So, yeah, I think Steve and I have had a up and down kind of, I don't want to say relationship, but an up and down business relationship of me being very honest of what things are. And I've told Steve many times, which I think you'll understand, Steve, that, you know, don't always see it that way. See it in another picture. See it in somebody else's eyes, not only your own eyes, but somebody else, where they're coming from, and trying to understand it. And I think you're definitely getting there, Steve.
So
very
I
positive.
have to now admit, I have to make an admission. So I have judged you before that you were fake, and I apologize for that right now.
Thank you for apologizing on the air, though. That's beautiful.
Because now I understand, and it was really me, not you. Just to go back to what you said, that this whole thing that we're doing, it's all about us, and I have probably grown now to a place where I can actually understand, and thank you for not bringing the energy down, because I've done enough of that in our relationship. You didn't have to add to it.
Well, really, what you're saying to Ninan is thank you for being true to who you are.
Yes.
And in fact,
Yes.
Ninan, you are true to who you are at all times. And
Yes,
that shows
absolutely.
the level of commitment that you have to yourself. And
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes people don't always like you for who you are, especially if you
Well,
are the upbeat,
I'll tell you
wonderful
something,
person.
Jamie. A majority of people do not like me like that. They really don't. And I have actually, I can't say I've never cared, because I do care. But I look at it as, okay, when they understand it and they get it, or maybe I shouldn't have said that in front of other people, or maybe I should have said that just one-on-one. So I try to understand the situation, and I think if you keep it like that, and you try to help people to understand of what they have, and if they change, because I teach this actually, if you just change the way you say it, it can make a whole big difference.
But, you know, if we all managed our own connection with ourselves instead of managing everyone else's connection with each other, I think that we would really do much better in the world in general. So something to consider. Just manage your own connection with yourself.
Yeah.
Moment to moment.
Great, Jimmy. All right, so let's talk a little bit about some of the tools and some of the different modalities that we're all aware of that can help our viewers to switch their way of being and their negative energy or negative thoughts in their mind to a place like where you operate at, and a place that where Ninan operates at. How, and same with the rest of us, of course. So who would like to go first?
Don't be quick to judge. We all do that.
Good
we
one.
all do that. I do it too. We all do that. I think, try to understand, have a little more patience with yourself. Forget the other person. Have more patience with yourself. Understand the situation. And be careful of the words you use, that sometimes it can jigger, somebody off or something. And try to understand your own life. Switch it around and say, would you like someone to say that to you?
Yeah,
And
sometimes
you say, "No,
sometimes being too direct is not the best thing.
No, not at all. I've done it. I do it all the time. It's not the best thing
So
to
have I.
do. No.
Yeah.
It's just the golden rule, which has been around for who knows how long, that do unto others as you would have them do unto you. All of this that you are saying, and Steve, that's been resonating with me in major ways, because I've been in the same position where I've had people think I was fake because I feel good, because I see the positive sides. I prefer to look at the positive and support and all that. And so I've been sitting here just listening and thinking about, wow, that sounds so much like me in some relationships I've had. And I've had people come back years later and apologize to me too for not getting me. And I used to care a lot. I just understand it, and it did bother me for a long time. But now I just like, okay, well, you don't get it, but I'm glad I'm where I am, and I feel for you coming along.
But I think, Lynn, what you just said when you said you don't care, I think we all care. And I think when we say we don't care, I think we all care. We don't want to really hurt somebody else. It's funny, I was at a wedding, a bridal shower last Sunday, and this woman wanted to talk to me, and I've known her a little bit, but not too well. And she wanted to talk to me, so she came over, we started talking, and I wanted to say something, a couple of things I wanted to say to her. And before I said it, I said, you know something, I'm going to tell you something. I said, and if you never talk to me again in your life, that's fine. But I'm going to tell you exactly what I see as an outsider. I know you, but I don't know you that well. And she was trying to get married. She's 42 years old. She's never been married. So she's talking about getting married. So I told her, I said, well, if you dress the way you're dressing, and you're telling me what sort of husband you want, I suggest you don't dress like that. She said, because I'm always getting the wrong men. And I said, well, the reason you're doing that is because the way you're dressed. You are attracting this type of man. So, and I said, if you don't like it, it's fine. I said, you'll never talk to me, and that's fine. I said, but this is what you need to do. And we did leave smiling and happy, but I don't know. Maybe she's not happy with it. But that was the truth. She had low-cut dress on. She had it short. And very, very pretty girl. And she said, I'm always attracting the wrong man. So I guess my message is that dress or go to the places where you want to meet the people you want to meet. If you want to meet people in Starbucks, go to Starbucks. If you want to meet people at the Ritz-Carlton, go to the Ritz-Carlton. If you want to meet people that are a little bit, scanty dress, then go scanty dress. If you want to meet, people in a nice community, then dress that way. It's how you present yourself.
But it's really how you feel about yourself. Because you can present yourself one way, and if you don't feel in alignment with how you're presenting yourself, you will attract the kind of person that resonates with how you feel about yourself.
Yes.
And it's so much more important than how we look, is how we feel.
Yes.
So, hopefully how we feel is a reflection of how we look, but that's not always
well,
the
it is,
case.
unfortunately, it is a reflection, because the first thing people see when you walk into a room and they haven't spoken to you is how you're dressed. And you get judged immediately. And we can't say we're not being judged, because we do. We get judged of, they're in this bracket, where we put more in, our personal brackets.
But you know what? I don't know, because I have seen women dressed in just horrendous outfits who feel so good and confident about themselves, and I am so taken with their confidence and their sense of self, and then all of a sudden you see the person. You don't really see the outfit or... so I think it is how we feel about ourselves.
Well, I also think it's what you're getting out of that person, because each one of us gets something different out of a person. We don't all feel the same thing out of the same person. So I think definitely is what we like out of that person. And I do agree with you, because that's definitely happened.
Yeah, so there's something beautiful I'm hearing in between there that it's not being uncovered, so I'm going to uncover it. So here's what's there. So, and I know this from my own point of view, and I know people do this, and I know the viewers will get all kinds of benefits out of this. So I have been in many situations where somebody told me their truth, like directly told me their truth. And inside of me, what I was experiencing, it ticked me off. But I knew it was the truth. But I wouldn't say, thank you for sharing the truth. I would be pissed at them for telling me the truth. Does that make sense?
I know. Yes, it does. I know, Steve.
And it's like, oh my God. And it's today, it's like, this happened today, because Jamie was telling me, lose the West. And I'm going like...
Lose the vest.
Yes, lose the vest. And I'm going, inside, what's going on is, it's just probably right. But it's pissing me off, because I am attached to the vest. But it's probably, because the reason I'm attached to the vest, because it covers up my fat gut.
You don't have a fat gut anymore.
And I'm going like, oh my God, but she's right.
Steve,
she's telling me the truth.
This goes back actually a little bit about a year and a half ago, when you and I were talking about you having a look. Because all of us have a look. I have a look. Actually, today I don't have a jacket on. But normally I have a jacket on. We all have this look. And I think you were trying to find your look. And you thought the waistcoat or the jacket, whatever you're wearing, you thought that would be your look.
Yeah.
So that's why you always wore it.
Well,
I
that
think
was
that's
based
how it
on what I
started.
was back then. And then what's interesting is I think I'm being groomed right now for the world stage. And and
I love it.
and Jamie is actually helping me. I mean, what she just did and what she just said today, I mean, that's helping me to get there.
But I
because-
did say it in a very loving way.
Yes, you did.
It was very
Yes, you
loving.
did.
It was not
Yes, you did.
judgmental.
But
it was,
it's not about what you were saying. It's about how we receive it, and that's what I wanted to kind of focus on for the viewers, because I know a lot of people do what I do. I mean, you may not do what I'm doing, but I'm not where you are yet. But go ahead.
Why do we have to say it in a loving way? Why can't we just say it in an honest, truthful way? Why do we have to sort of say, well, if I say it in a nice, loving way, then they'll understand, rather than saying in an honest, straightforward way?
Because people will receive it and perceive it differently. We try to put it in a way that they won't be offensive first, but will be open to receive the truth of what we're trying to say. At least that's the way I feel when I say something. I try to be non-confrontational in presenting something that I want them to be to think about, as opposed to rejecting just because they didn't like the way I said it. You know, we respond to any little things that tones and inflections in our voices.
But everybody's
we just
different.
normally
Lynn.
do.
But
Yes.
everybody's different. Some people respond to, like, some people need a 2x4. That's the only way they're going to respond. Okay,
That's
what I'm
and you can
saying.
talk to
Some
them,
people
and you can
don't
talk to them
understand
all day
kindness.
long and be nice, and it's not going to make a difference.
Yeah.
But actually, physiologically, it actually is different, because if we use, like Nina was saying, if you get really tough with somebody, that's called necessities language. So you're saying, you have to do this, you must do that. The person sometimes just remembers somebody else giving them an order when they were a child, and they go, rack
Yes.
off, yeah, I'm not interested. Whereas if you use possibilities language by saying, well, you may like to consider changing your dress slightly, and all of a sudden, when we were a little kid and someone was reading us a story, the gatekeeper, what we call the gatekeeper between our conscious and subconscious, it just opens up and all this beautiful language goes in, and all of a sudden this person just responds to what you're saying, because it's the child part of them that's going, oh my gosh, I may like to do that too. So it is definitely received by us very differently when we're talking in either necessities hijacker language. And I agree with Steve, there's some people, as coaches, we know that all of a sudden they need a break of state and some necessities language. However, for the most part, when we speak in what we call possibilities language, it may be possible for you to do that. So my language change is the word, that's interesting. And I'll nod my head. And so whatever the person's doing, rather than comment on it, I'll go, that's interesting, because it is.
But you're so right. Do you know something, Linda? You're so right. That is an old trait on the movie set. When we do scenes, because you have a lot of acting, when we do scenes, and say we do it wrong, but we don't want to be told we're doing it wrong because that's going to dilute us of our energy. So the director or producer, whoever's guiding you, will say, why don't we try it this way, or why don't we do it this way? They will never tell you you did it wrong. So that's a very good point out there, because when you say you do it wrong, you as an actor or actress, you just go, oh, I did it wrong, what am I going to do? And then you lose what you're supposed to do. So when they turn around and say, well, let's try it this way, or let's do it this way, completely different, and you feel good.
So imagine a parent bringing up a child with that same, language. It's so
I
different.
agree. Yeah,
so
I couldn't agree.
if you're already always being told off, like I was recently coaching a barrister, and he came in and there's tears running down his face, and I said, we haven't even started yet.
Explain to the audience what a barrister is.
A judge,
A lawyer.
a lawyer, but in a really high position.
Yeah.
And so he came in and he said, I'll tell you what happened. He said,
Oh, wow.
when I was a child and the milk spilt on the floor, I was whacked. How could you do that? And he said it was horrific. And he said, I'm reading a book to my little girls, and there's this picture of milk on the floor. And the lady in the book says, wow, look at the picture you've made on the floor. It actually is very interesting. And he's crying because he said, why couldn't my parents talk to me like that? And it's a good example of what we're saying, that all he had was experience, and all of a sudden all his issues around the way somebody spoke was from an experience he had around his parents. So necessities language versus possibilities, and just saying, you know what, that's interesting behavior.
Okay, hang on. So language is freaking me out right now. So when we go to the coffee shop, the what is it from Seattle? What is it called? The
Starbucks.
Starbucks. Aren't they called barristers?
Oh, the barista.
Oh, barista.
Ah,
Okay,
barista.
so that's
Oh,
slightly,
no, barista, my dear, is a
but
lawyer
slightly
or-
different.
or
So that's
a,
what I was thinking when you said that. So
Yeah,
I just
barista.
want out to explain it because I know that the English and the Australians, New Zealand, barristers are judges.
oh, okay. Okay, I never
Just
heard
fun.
that before. It didn't even exist in my reality
It's
until just
it's
now.
in the vowels, so it's a
Okay.
or barrister.
Okay.
Not my dear, it's a Queen's language.
Okay, great. So I have a perfect example, I think, that we should probably just review for a second. When I was in Las Vegas with visiting Ninan, because we had some business to take care of, we were in an Indian restaurant, and she was attempting to coach me, and she was very direct.
We're actually in Los Angeles at that time.
Okay, wherever we
But
were,
you're
it doesn't
about-
matter.
yes.
Yeah, Los Angeles. Yeah.
Yes, I
In an
remember
yeah,
well.
correct. We were near Hollywood, and she was attempting to coach me. She was actually trying to do what Jamie
Can
did.
I just back up 1 second? You
Yeah.
would ask me previously to help you, and if you did something, to let you know.
Yeah.
So
But
I was
correct,
tempted to do that.
and that was one of those things that what you were trying to do. You were trying to coach me, which was the same thing as what Jamie was doing. You were trying to get me ready for the world stage, and when you said what you said, you were very direct, very confronting, and I immediately rebelled.
Oh, yes,
And
you
I
did.
mean
And you let me
immediately,
know.
I
And
just
you let
went,
me know.
I just went crazy. It's like, oh my God! If this is how you want to coach me, I don't want any of it. All right. So I believe that where I am today, I would receive that completely differently. Completely differently. Does that make sense?
Yes, but it's because you're loving yourself right now. And before you weren't. And so you took a defensive
Yeah,
posture.
I took it as a judgment, as I took it as, so this is how you're going to help me. You're going to tell me what to do. You're gonna tell me what's wrong with me. That's what I heard.
But I did not, yeah, but and I remember this very, very
Yeah,
clearly.
no, I got it.
did
I got
not
it.
say it.
I got it. I mean,
I
we
didn't
were.
say it in a bad voice. It's the way you took it.
Yeah.
And
But
I was trying to be gentle about it because I know how I am. And I was trying to be gentle about it. And then when you rebuffed back on me, I kind of went, oh, okay, then I won't do that again. And so you climbed me down completely. Because I thought, oh my goodness, because I didn't want to, you don't want to upset somebody. And I remember, I think I was more upset than you were because I didn't want to do what I did. And I had this reaction back again. Now, the girl that I was doing this on Sunday was grateful. She said, no, she said, this is what I want to hear. So it all depends on who you're saying it to, and how they want to perceive it and whether they want to understand it or whether they want to still reject it.
Right.
And you were still rejecting it, but fortunately you're changing.
Yeah. No kidding. Am I glad?
Well, it's all, I think, any of us, when we try to help you, Steve, it's always for the better. And I remember the other day I was saying something to you, and you were doing something on one of our talk things, and I said, oh, by the way, when you're on television, don't do that because you can hear it very loudly. And you kind of took offense at it, and I understood it, but I was trying to help you.
Yeah. No, and I appreciate that. And again, this is what's different about the show is that we are able to have a dialogue like this, which I believe is very powerful. And there's a lot the viewers can learn because these are the dialogues that people need to have in their own lives. Because what's the alternative? The alternative is we get mad, we get angry, we withdraw.
But we don't need to do anything.
Well, we don't need to do
Okay.
anything.
Everyone's fine, but it's another option. And I think that this show demonstrates the option beautifully. And
No, I didn't
Yeah.
mean that they needed to do anything. Yeah, you're correct. They don't need to do anything. All I'm saying is that if any of this that we're displaying, because what this show is about, it's about displaying so that people can see and feel. Because what's missing, and what's been missing for me as well, is to allow myself to have the feeling come up and then I got to do something with it. I either have to express it to you, or I have to process it within myself, or I have to call my therapist and process it and do whatever.
And sometimes you can
and
just
sometimes I have to do anything.
Right, and sometimes you can just
I get
say,
it.
I know I'm having an issue, and I'm not
Yeah.
doing a thing about it.
Right.
Yeah, I think I'd like to tell people out there that just stop this anger. Stop this anger. You know, there's so much anger out there. I feel it all the time. And, you know, it's like somebody, I walk up in a store and I'm buying some food and I go to check out. And the woman looks up and she says, how are you doing today? And I said, I'm doing whoever I can. And my girlfriend says to me, she says, Nina, you can't say that, you can't say that. And I said, yes, I can. I said, there's a reason I say that. Do you know why I say it? Because that girl that's checking me out immediately starts laughing. So I changed her whole attitude because she said, oh, and she's like, and that's the only reason I say it, because I want to see the reaction on her face. And the reaction is always they start laughing.
Well, you're also interrupting people, because what, you know, these are all formalities and people are so used to it. We're on automatic pilot. And when you respond the way you respond, you just interrupted them, you know, because they expected something, you know, like you ask, well, how are you doing and whatever, fine, whatever. You know, it's all just formality. It doesn't mean anything.
You present yourself, and that's all you have. And I always say to people in this world, you know, we got everything. I got loads of stuff, all this stuff. It doesn't make any difference. It's how you are as a person. This is all you really have. This is all you carry around with you. So try to make it as comfortable, as happy as possible, and see the positive, not the negative. Because if you go, always going to look for the negative, it's always going to be negative.
It's a really good point, Nina. And I was watching this mum, a young mum, just recently, and I didn't know her, and I just watched her and I thought, you are a wonderful mum, you know, like the energy you put out to your kids, the lovingness, the caredness, you can see it in the kids. So I actually went over to her and I said, I just want to know that I've been watching you and I just want to applaud you for who you are and who you're being, and those children are absolutely gifted to be your children. And she was so taken back, and I thought about that later, and I thought, how many times do we say something positive to somebody rather than think about what's wrong?
Yep.
You know, and it felt great, and I've noticed that, you know, I can do it a lot more often now, because I think some people, even as you're walking through a shop and there's a cash register, somebody that's doing the cash register, and you just make a comment saying, oh, your hair looks amazing today and thank you for being efficient, and they just go like this. It's like but I love it because it breaks the state just as like something hard does.
Yeah, don't be afraid of saying something nice. It's okay to say something nice to somebody else. And also, not only does it make them feel good, it makes you feel good too, you know, because they have your smile on your face. So stop being angry out there, all you people. It's okay.
Yes, and I also think, too, sometimes we're afraid of each other because there's so much going on where we're just so sensitive of being politically correct and this, that, and the other. When if you just smile and be yourself and share that, you know, recognizing that spirit inside of them. Sometimes you never know when someone has not had a reason to smile for a long time. And you walk up and say, hi, how are you doing? And smile and really be present, you know, not just casually.
Yeah.
It can positively, you just see their bodies lift, you see their eyes light up. Somebody's interested in me. You know, somebody's noticing me. Because I see a lot of people who seem to be going around the world wanting to be invisible so that they don't get hurt again. So just, you know, that recognition, that awareness, that little pat on the back, it can make all the difference in the world.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. And I'm going to put a little incident out here that just happened to me. I actually went to a function magazine. From the magazine, there was some people there. They were going to this bar where they had these old 60s and 70s music. And I said, oh, great, I'd love to go there. But taking a leaf out of Jamie's book, I went in there with a different attitude than I usually go in. Usually I'm going in very quiet and very sort of not smiling or anything. This time I went in with my girlfriend, and we were laughing and joking. I danced the whole night. Men came over and asked me to dance, which, I mean, it happens a little bit, but not like it did this particular. And it was my whole attitude of how I felt and how people could read my body and how happy I was. And it was just amazing. So, yes, it's definitely how you walk around and the smile on your face and what you do, 100%. Because I experienced it. So I'm going around laughing and joking now in all the clubs.
But when you're having that conversation with yourself of being happy about you and feeling good, that's this whole concept that I've been talking about, is when you have that conversation in yourself, no matter what else is going on in your life, and you go out and you present that energy to the world, it's amazing how the world
they all come
sees
together.
it. Yes, they're hungry for it, you know?
So, yeah, Lynn, thank you. So, Lynn, I'm curious about, is it possible for us to switch into this new conversation and a new way of being without really knowing who we are?
I don't think so. I think it begins with you at least questioning, starting to ask and seek and start to look for something different in you, because, you know, it's like Einstein says, you can't keep doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. You have to change the mindset in order to change the circumstances. So, you know, we're all beginning to wake up at least a little bit now, and I think it's asking those initial questions that put you on the path of seeking how to make those changes. Because then once you're open, then you can start to receive information from the sources that it comes. And everybody has something to give us. Even those that we don't like or don't really want to be around, they have information to share and to give us. And we need to be open to receiving that.
And I think it's a lot calmer when you're feeling really good about you. It's so much calmer than needing you and you and you and you and you to make me feel good. Because it's like if I need all of these people out here, like a comment or somebody saying something to make me feel good, then all of those people have to go to the psychiatrist in order for me to get better. And that ain't going to work.
I like that.
It's a lot calmer when you feel good about you. I remember going to these dance nights that Ninon goes, and this lady said to me, "You're so brave." And I said, "Why would that be?" And she said, "Because you just get up on the dance floor and dance." And I said, "Honey, I came here for the dancing. If I beat somebody, that's a bonus."
And I never would have done that, but I do the same thing.
Well, I wait till I ask, but at least but I think, you know something, Lynn, you're right. To thine own self be true. Yeah. Be true to who you are. Start delving in and thinking, why am I not getting this? Why am I not having the conversations? Why aren't I doing this? Why isn't this happening for me? And go into yourself, because it is absolutely nobody else's fault but your own, on what you're perceiving and what you're understanding and what you're doing. It's nobody.
But it's about empowerment. It's about empowerment. When you feel good about you, you've got this amazing self-power. So you feel like you can do anything, and it's calming. So you don't have to react all the time. Whereas asking everyone else and thinking, "Oh, do I look all right?" or "I need to dress like this to attract," that's disempowering. And so get your power back. Feel good about you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yes. Okay, so we're actually kind of coming down to the end of the show. So I'm going to do something really quick. So I got 3 questions, and let me start with Lynn and see how far we can get. So if you could just give us short answers, if you could, that would be great, and then we can get through the whole thing. Okay. So Lynn, first question: who are you? What do you want, really, and how are you going to get what you want?
I am a delighted woman. I don't know how to put that in any other way, because knowing where I've been and what I've come through to where I am now, I am so happy to be here, to be me. I realized that some of the things that I used to think were things people didn't like or that made me different, they are my strengths, my assets, the things that make me me, and have also given me the strength to endure and come through some really, incredible things. So I am woman. I am Lynn. I'm here on planet sharing this divine gift that was given me to be here and to help other people learn to be happy too. That's who I am. I am happiness embodied.
What do you really want? What do you
really
want?
What I really want to be happy and stay happy.
And how are you going to get it? How are you going to get it?
Get it by continuing on this journey that I'm on. It's been a miraculously incredible experience these last years, and I can't explain how much has come out, and I'm seeing things happen that are like, oh my gosh, So I'm doing what I'm doing now to get what I want, and I'm very much on my way and just enjoying it.
Okay, great. So switching over to Linda, we may not get to finish this. We'll finish it on another show, but go
No,
ahead.
I agree with Lynn. I just feel that I'm amazing, and that's taken me many years to come to that realization. I'm amazing. I'm here for a purpose. I'm open to listening to the messages. I feel like I'm a conduit for messages, and I'm living my purpose, and just loving it, and seeing that when my energy changes other people and they can absorb that, then I don't change anybody, but I instigate a lot. And I just love being here and being that conduit.
All right, great. All right, so we'll probably have to finish this on another show. So sorry about Ninon and Jimmy, but you know
okay.
that there'll be a next time shortly. All right, so thank you very much. I want to thank our guest cast, of course, Lynn, for being here. Thank you so much, and also our entire cast, and that to be everybody that's part of the Self-Evolution cast, of course. And I also want to make sure that I remind everybody that, not just to remind, but to call you to check in with yourself, the viewers, that if you heard anything or you felt anything on this show that moved you, even touched you or inspired you in any way, go to www.livingconsciously.tv and interact with us there. Also, you can go to our Facebook site and ask us questions. And our commitment, we have a new commitment on this show now, which is we are committed to fill up the seats in the studio. So we tried that last week. It worked out perfectly, and we were so touched and moved and inspired ourselves, is that's what we want to create for the future. So look forward to having lots of people in the studio in the future and interacting with everybody. So I love you all.
Love you.
And we'll see you next week, same time, same place, Denver time, 3 o'clock on Channel 56. See you then.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.